Hey guys, it's JW Gaming here, and today we're having a look at the submachine guns in Battlefield 1 related to Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. So, Battlefield 1 is obviously the game coming out in October, and Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 are modern day shooters, so their use of submachine guns is very different. So first of all, there are no assault rifles in Battlefield 1, so it obviously frees up the use of submachine guns to be the only, or the go-to, automatic weapons. I know LMGs are fully automatic, but they also affect your movement speed and accuracy because they are heavy. And the way that the LMGs work is very different. If you want to have a look at that video, I'll link it down below. I went through all the changes that they've made to LMGs because some of them are pretty drastic. So back to the SMGs. These are really built as close quarters weapons. They're built so that then they can't reach out to the semi-auto and bolt action range, because otherwise those weapons would really have no place in this game. That means that the damage drop-off is massive and the spread is massive as well over range. You will, after your first shot, the shots will be going everywhere at range. However, you can combat this by using tap firing to get a couple of accurate shots on, but I really wouldn't recommend this unless absolutely necessary. However, its one big attribute is the fact that A, it is semi-automatic, as I already said, and B, its hipfire is absolutely amazing. Hipfire is the best of any class in the game, and you can go within 10-15 yards, you can hipfire people, no problem, and it'll be really, really accurate. Now, this brings a lot more variety of the weapons to the game. Although there aren't as many weapons as there were in Battlefield 4, there's more of a variety in terms of the action of the weapons. Especially fully automatic weapons, they were massively in prototype stage in World War I really, so you see some really weird and wacky actions and really different weapons, whereas now sort of you have a standard way that a weapon looks for the most part, and they all perform fairly similarly. There's a lot of different fire rates in the SMG category, and that they have each of their trade-offs. Obviously the higher rate of fire weapons are more unstable and more difficult to control, but even better in close range than the lower rate of fire counterparts like the MP18. Now, as I said, with the variety of weapons, this makes it a lot more than I think in terms of Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. You have to pick your weapon for the firefight because they're all very, very different, as opposed to the assault rifles in Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. They were sort of the go-to weapons for any range. They could combat snipers if need be. They could go up against the SMGs and PDWs in close range if they needed to. So this really brings a little bit of a niche for the SMG. It's the best in close quarters by far, but it can't reach out to range, so you need to work out beforehand how your playstyle is going to be affected by this. Now, the SMGs are only used with the anti-tank class, so the class that has all of the rocket gun and the anti-tank grenades and everything like that. This to me brings a little bit more of the team play factor, because in previous Battlefields the carbines in Battlefield 4 and the PDWs in Battlefield 3 were all class, so you could use them with any class. This means, again, it sort of means you're going to have to work out what your playstyle is going to be and how you're going to play the objective, so it might enforce a little bit more of team play. Now, when it comes to attachments, they're obviously not the really modern attachments, lots of grips, lots of laser sights, flashlights, everything like that. You don't get that in World War I. So, I know you can get various sight attachments like the artillery or just plain iron sights, which do affect the weapon a little bit, but still we are yet to see what that customise button was in the beta. It was greyed out and it meant that we couldn't access it, but there is probably going to be a little bit of customization, but that remains to be seen. Whether it is just cosmetic or not, again. Now, this makes an interesting change when it comes to Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, because it means that you're using more of just the stock raw weapon. So you're choosing which weapon is good for this task, which weapon is best suited to what I'm going to try and do. So I think that's a good change, and it also fits in with the time period that Battlefield are trying to go for. Everybody was not running around with super ridiculous customization weapons, just because the standard infantry soldier and the countries that supplied those soldiers didn't have the funds or the equipment in that amounts to outfit their soldiers. So if you like this video and you want to see some more, feel free to subscribe, give it a like. If you disliked it, give it a dislike, tell me why in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.